my name is Zachary as always, and today I am reviewing the movie Dr. No. It was released in 1965, and it was the very first James Bond movie. Now, this movie really kicked off James Bond, and, well, it didn't do a whole lot of things very well, but what it did do is introduce us to James Bond. It really showed us what was possible with this James Bond character, and we get to see this with Dr. No, played by Sean Connery. And yeah, this movie did a lot of things, and we get to see how James Bond really started out and how it became what it is today. We start off our film with these men that we see in the opening credits that eventually pan out to actually them walking down the street, and we eventually just see them, they're pretending to be blind, and then they just shoot somebody. And the pacing here is horrendous. I'm just saying. Like you couldn't even, you could barely hear the gunshot. There wasn't even a gunshot sound effect. But, bang. Bro was literally on the ground. You literally just saw, first you see this guy's falling on the ground, and then you see the gun, and then you see the blood on the guy, and then you see these guys just loading him into a car. It happens so fast, I don't think it works. And we'll get to see a lot of that throughout the film, and so the pacing can be a little bit off with this movie, which is something that luckily the other films greatly improved on. But also something else, and then, so eventually, they start figuring out who is doing all of this. They track it back to this man named Dr. No. Dr. No is this extremely intelligent guy. But we'll talk about him later because, yeah. So, yeah. And something we get to see throughout this film is how James Bond is able to use his surroundings and the thing around him to figure things out, because like you'll see him do something and then it'll click with you with what he's trying to do in that certain sequence, which I think is cool to see how it just clicks. And that's really, really cool. So, 1 second we'll see him doing something to a suitcase, and then we'll see him putting, a hair or something over top of a closet. And then it just clicks. Oh, yeah, he's trying to see if anybody's going to break in. That's why if somebody were to open that, then the hair would be gone. It's such a subtle detail. And it's really cool to see that and how it just clicks and how witty and smart James Bond is, and really shows this character. And this movie, luckily, the first introduction for James Bond, it leaves no time. We immediately figure out who James Bond is because he literally says his own name. He says, "My name is Bond, James Bond." And it's funny. It's so good, and because of how much of a meme that's became since then, it's just really nice to see. But eventually later in the movie, where we get to see that kind of James Bond, kind of out there goofiness, we see a ship shaped as this quote-unquote dragon, but it's really just a boat, and it breathes fire out of his nostrils. It's supposed to be like a dragon, but eventually James Bond and this girl on the island gets kidnapped. And I think the underground part is actually really cool. I mean, it is pretty nice. I thought so at least, but yeah, and eventually, for how smart Dr. No seems to be, he is not very good at making jail cells. By this, I mean there is one time where James Bond is locked up in this room, but there's an open vent that he literally punches open and crawls through. And then he escapes that in a matter of seconds, or a minute or two. Bro couldn't even shut the vents. Bro literally just had it hanging open there. He's an absolute goober. Dr. No, for being as smart as he claims, he's a goober. He's a real goober, you know? But, anyway, so for all this movie's faults, it does do some things right and really introduces us to the James Bond character. And something else we get to see as well, there's this fight scene where, like, not really fight scene, but, like, James Bond's, like, punching the sky. And that's where we get to see, like, this James Bond, like, fighting and how they were able to improve this and how it doesn't flow as well in this movie. The fighting doesn't. But it does flow a lot better than the other ones. Because in the first one, because in this one, when the fight scenes are happening, it just cuts from one shot to another to one shot to another. Or, like when there's this car chase scene, kind of. There's just this sequence where it cuts from green screen, but then it cuts to an actual car moving. It just cuts back and forth so much. I'm like, it just took me out of the sequence altogether. It just took away from me a lot of what that sequence had to offer. But something I will say is that there is this cool scene where a car is going down a hill and it just explodes, which I think looks very, very cool. Probably my most favorite part of the movie, but eventually we figure out that the villains are doing something with nuclear radiation. So James Bond has to stop them, and he drops Dr. No in this vat of, like, stuff. I don't know, it's not, I don't know, it's like, I'm not 100% sure what it is, but it's something with, like, nuclear radiation and, like, nuclear stuff, nuclear energy, and radiation. So, bro probably died from drowning and radiation poisoning and burns all at the same time. But, yeah, it was a cool fight scene. I think that the death scenes and stuff did really improve, but it is cool to see the set and, like, this whole radiation thing. Probably the best centerpiece of the movie. Probably the best set piece. You can tell they put a lot of money into it. So yeah, guys, I just wanted to talk about this movie. If my voice is a little bit spotty here and there, it's because I have a cold. If you enjoyed this video or any of my comments, please subscribe and I'll see you next week. Goodbye.